Here we go. Here we go. Let's see if we have liftoff. Rama is right here.
Liftoff. And Rama is right here. He is anxiously waiting.
Anxiously awaiting. See who is going to be first.
Get the first Rama kiss.
Oh, it's Mary D.
Oh, it's Mary D. Of course she gets Rama kisses. Yes.
Mary D in the house.
Yes.
And there is places you can't go.
There are. Yay. Oh, good. Hi, Jason. Hi, you guys. Hi, Mary. Another Mary. Hi, Robbie. Good to see you. Hi. Hi.
Awesome to see everybody. This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we're going to have a bunch of different things we're going to be covering. Strange day. Do you guys feel like the energy's weird out there or what? Doesn't it feel kind of odd?
It does. It feels a little bit, I don't know. I just don't like it. Hi, Tracy, T-Light, CR Cruiser, DJ, Dana, Tara, Larry Locklear. Great to see you. Mary Emerson. Oh my gosh, you guys have been so wonderful and so supportive. Thanks for coming in and saying hi on the chat.
Do you know, let's see, it's been 8 years and 6 days now that we've been doing YouTube videos. Yeah, we went past the 8-year anniversary, and it's just wild how time goes. Hey, Ray's in the house. Glad you guys made it. It is just, here we are. We're at an all new phase, but we're still here. We're still here. We're still plugging away.
We are, and I definitely have some people to say thank you to. I'm going to wait till we have a few more in the chat, and we have some thank yous coming to you guys for helping us out where you can, when you can, however you can. It all goes to a good place, and it goes toward us, trying to get this information out and trying to help support us through the awakening.
Yes, absolutely. We are so honored that you are all here with us as well. Neil says he doesn't like it either. I feel rotten. Yeah, it's there's this weird vibe out there. Yeah, I was looking at, I'll bring it up just for us to peek at, the Schumann, and this is kind of weird because the Schumann's kind of quiet. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. We got a 36-hour blackout period. There's something up. I mean, I feel it. And as we're creeping towards September, I've felt really, the bleep hits the fan September and October. But, to be honest, which we always are, painfully so, I really don't think that things have been anywhere near as bad as what they could have been. Again, with the craziness of the system that we find ourselves in. I really don't think it's been anywhere near the worst possible timelines. In fact, I think we've done pretty good in nudging humanity awake, and we got to keep doing that. That is the key, because again, we have to get to that plurality where the paradigm will truly be forced to completely shift.
I know. And crypto says something is going terribly wrong in the skies of California. Why don't you expand on that? That sounds frightening. Joffrey's in the house. Good to see you. Mary and Tracy, I think I said hi again already. Yeah, quick, on the East Coast recently, there's been some weirdness going on. And yeah, I think we got to keep an eye on it. And, I really feel like they're sending through a vibration of kind of yuck, because when I start feeling a little lethargic and ask around and other people are feeling lethargic, it's like it's across the board with people who are sensitives. I mean, it's like we can't help it. We feel it. Sudden overcast with dark clouds, sort of spooky dark clouds. Yikes! That does sound scary. Mike was just talking about what that looked like over in Florida when you see the dark clouds. No fun. And the weirdest thing is going on right now. I mean, the dogs love Mike. They follow him everywhere. But Sassy is like glued to his ankle. I mean, she just glued to his ankle. Usually it's not quite that severe, but Sassy is just, if he goes into the kitchen to get a drink of water, she's right there at his ankle. So I don't know. Sassy, she's our most sensitive one. She's sensing something. And the bees and wasps are acting weird. Yeah, there's Miss Zeno.
You see how Mary says, feeling very heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. It's like, it's weird how it comes on. Because, yesterday, or was it yesterday? I started off after doing a fast feeling really good and like all gung-ho and full of motivation, and then it's just like I hit a brick wall and the energy shifted completely, and it's like I don't think it's me. I really don't think it's me. And then we have we have double security system. We have the dogs, but when we got this house, it already had a great security system in it, and it includes like 10 cameras and also speakers to monitor. If somebody was outside, you would hear them. And we've had this weird humming coming out of the blue. And I was noticing the skies before that, and the skies have these wave-like patterns to them that tells me somebody's running some sort of harpish type of frequency. And I almost wondered if our speakers were picking up on it. It's just bizarre, but something feels really, really off.
It does. It does. It feels a little off, and hopefully it's going to lift soon because, my gosh, people are getting really tired. And it's almost like this grinding, draining energy. And, yeah, I mean, it's time for something different. I'm ready for a different energy, but we also got to keep in mind we just saw the Schumann do some pretty wild stuff. And it could be, some of that could be our bodies are just trying to catch up. But, while we're getting into this, I just want to say thank you to some people for being so kind and giving us what they can, when they can, how they can, and just being very supportive. I want to say thank you to Carrie, Robbie, Peter, Shaw Rose, and Mike L. You know who you are. We really appreciate your guys' support. All the thumbs up, all the comments, all of that counts. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I really feel September is key. In specific, I would be looking like maybe, not that anything couldn't happen before that, but around the 22nd to 24th of September, for more than one reason. But, again, just it feels like there's a lot that's going to be kicking off. So as it turns out, the blackout that began yesterday is still ongoing at the Schumann. So 36 hours, which the charts aren't being updated. So who knows? Maybe we really do have some absolutely insane Schumann readings going on. Here you go. After cleaning up D.C. with National Guard, we're going to move on to other locations, Chicago, then we'll help New York. Everything, it's so easy for you guys, for people that are awake to see through the script because we've been anticipating this script for, okay, reconnection successful. We've been expecting all this to go down, but still, they're going by the playbook. So, what are we going to look for? Well, this person's worried about nationwide martial law, and obviously, a lot of people have really truly been totally divided into two camps. And then we have those people that maybe are indifferent to the whole thing, clueless and stay oblivious. And then we have those that recognize that it's all basically a drama, a play. And it's like watching the WWE. And, they're paid to do this. But it does have real consequences. Like when you watch the WWE, it's all scripted. Somebody knows who's going to win. Somebody's going to lose. At what time do they bring the chair out to hit over somebody's head? And instead we're wondering, well, at what time do they start the Civil War, or what state's going to leave the Union first, or what what are they going to hit us with as far as the second plague upon the land. It's just so easy to see what's going on, and people will debate all the little nuances, like this person saying we don't have enough military to actually do that, to do martial law everywhere. They're missing the point. We really are going off the history books, and we're forced to look at the history books and weigh them, whether we feel something's true or not. I do think the Civil War had a lot more going on than they tell us. There was a lot more behind the scenes with the Civil War, for instance. And when you look at it, there were wars that haven't stopped around this globe going back 5,000 years. There's just been nonstop warfare all the time. You won't find years with no war anywhere. They're everywhere. Now, we got 1,700 U.S. National Guard troops to deploy across 19 states to combat crime and aid deportations. Yeah, we're aware of that. And, I guess it depends on what state you're in, how you're taking it, because in a red state, you look at things different than if you're in a blue state. And just like, watching the last regime from a red state standpoint made you absolutely sick and nauseous, this kind of does the same from a blue state standpoint. Yet we recognize it's just them pulling the pendulum farther back, each time, trying to divide us so we don't see the other things that are going on. And again, war is an excuse to just have all sorts of things go down. Again, what happens in martial law? It's like there is no law. It's law at the end of the gun. So anything goes, and often a lot of things happen, and nothing's ever really questioned because there's just so much that goes down that people will not be able to see and report on. Of course, we have cameras everywhere now.
Yeah, we have cameras everywhere. And Mary Emerson says that stupid new Naked Gun movie talked about how they sent out an aggressive frequency through our phones. They always put it in our faces. I know. Oh my gosh, Mary, you nailed it. And I was wanting to watch that movie. I could use a few good laughs, but I don't know if it's any good.
Oh, I'm sure it's
But I do need a giggle or two. I think that would definitely help raise our vibration. One of the fastest ways to raise your vibration is joy and laughter.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you have to laugh. So here you have health officials from Massachusetts, Maine, Vermont, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania met this week to consider coordinating their own recommendations, separate from federal government. We've always known that this is coming, and it's just a matter of how is the split going to come down? What's it going to look like? It's interesting when I listen to Christoph with what he's getting all the time. Again, different timelines, and big events can shift timelines, absolutely. I think we're always shifting timelines. But it's interesting that when he picks up, he does see that there's going to be a big global war. And it's going to end up changing all the maps everywhere. So how is our map going to change? What do you guys see happening out there in chat? What do you guys think is going to happen? Do you think the U.S. is going to break up into 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces? I think Cynthia got years ago, 2019, 2020, that was going to be split into 5 pieces.
I did. I remember I got 5. I got 5 ultimately when it's all said and done. Yeah. There might be more. There could be more, but we'll see.
So what's it going to, is this part of a splitting right here? Because it may just be that states ignore. And, will the federal government try to force militarily the states to go along with whatever it is that seems to be the hot issue at that point in time? I don't think we'll have to wait too long, Doctor. Time shall tell, but I'm thinking we're going to get a really good idea how things are going to go probably over the next eight weeks, I want to say.
We have to wait and see, and our job is to keep, to do our best. You don't want to ignore vibrations. You don't want to ignore your emotions, but, we definitely want to process things, but there's good and bad ways of looking at things. So yeah, if negative things are happening, we need to process those emotions, but there's always a way to, I've been practicing, and I've had friends help me practice reframing stuff. And it's truly helpful. It's truly helpful to reframe and get your family in on it, get your friends in on it. And it's a better way to be when you have all this yucky stuff coming at you and you learn to reframe it. It's still yucky stuff, but it's something that helps you not sink so far down in vibration, and you're still coping with it, and you're still being true to yourself, and you're still processing.
Yeah, I mean, I am looking forward to the cooler weather. By the way, it's going to be abnormally cool for a lot of the eastern U.S. In the coming couple weeks. Really abnormally cool. And I was feeling that. I shared that with you guys. I want to say it was the end of July. It was somewhere about a month ago. I got a strong feeling that we were going to have an unusually chilly fall and winter in most of the U.S., or at least in the area where we are, which is South Central. So, is this part of the breaking up of everything? In the 8 years that we've been doing this, we've done a lot of videos. I was just plugging in here the Pluto return of the U.S., because we did this one 3 years ago, 2/22/2022. The fall of the empire. Is China supposed to succeed us as the dominant global power? Well, China already has the system they want for the whole world, pretty much. So it would seem like that's the poster boy for the few and the rest of the, let's say, globalists. This one too, because you have not just the Hopi prophecy, which we've talked about, which again, hopefully that timeline's been averted. But the Hopi prophecy does say that the U.S. will be attacked by outside forces. And then you have Washington's vision, which showed the same thing, showed the greatest trial and tribulation of the U.S. will be an outside attack and invasion of the U.S. And then you have Albert Pike saying 3 world wars are planned back in 1871. So yeah, we've been talking about this for like 7+ years of the last 8 years that we've been doing this. Again, talking about the eclipses, setting everything in motion. And I shared with you guys the visions I had back in the middle 80s as a that was when I was in my first apartment by myself, that I had a couple very, very disconcerting visions. One of them actually looked more like an alien invasion, and I'm not really sure what that was all about. But yeah, it seems like that's on the cards too, or at least a fake alien invasion.
I know, that's going to be something that I think we're going to face in more than one way, and while we're here on this earth. So that's something that we need to keep an eye on and keep developing your discernment. Your discernment is so crucial right now, because I think one way that they really try to mess us up is overload of information. And when you have an overload of information, it makes it so very difficult to find your ground and to find which direction you want to go, because you're just saturated with everything and anything. And, one study comes out and says this thing is good. Another study comes out, says this thing is bad. Who knows? I mean, there's a way to flip the script on anything and everything. So how do you know it's true? So important to find that within yourself.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of videos coming out of Venezuela that shows Venezuela mobilizing a massive military because they're expecting to be invaded by the U.S. And of course, we've had the whole thing with Maduro over the years, and trying to install the puppet Juan as the president. It is just ridiculous to, again, those that are awake. But you do have ships carrying thousands of Marines heading towards Venezuela. That is a fact. In fact, I saw a flotilla of three main ships that were heading that way. When you think about it in the bigger sense of things, if they are getting ready for that World War III, Venezuela is very important because it's allied with Russia and China. It's a land footing here in the Americas. And then you also have, the whole thought that we might go in militarily to get the cartels and the drug dealers in Venezuela, but also in Mexico. So is this really just a prelude to World War III?
It's definitely something. It's the pendulum swinging a little bit further this way and a little bit further that way. And it's keeping people on edge. And I think that's why one of the things we do like to try to help people with is that Buddhist detachment. It's fine to know what's going on, but don't allow that fear to come out of your body and become a feeding place for these other dimensional entities. Because they want food just like anything else. If they see a free dinner, they're going to come get it. And it's our responsibility to control what goes on inside of us.
Yeah, these are wild times. We have so much going on that it'll make you exhausted just looking at it. Just looking. So Trump sent the USS Gravely, the USS Jason Dunham, and the USS Sampson with about 4,000 military personnel to the edge of Venezuela's territorial waters. Yeah, I could absolutely see one of the first battles of WW3 happening off in that area. It seems somewhat logical if you're going to do the illogical and actually start a war that could wipe out hundreds of millions, if not billions. But this is what the system does, because the system has goals, and we know that there's different goals out there. We've seen goals on that guidestone in Georgia that got blown up that said, hey, you only need 500 million. Oh, yeah, I'm saving this for this. Interesting numbers, because when Cindy was channeling the guides, I asked, when did the population peak on planet Earth? Because I strongly feel that there's less people today than there was when I was a kid growing up in the 70s. I really do. And what we got from the guides was, yes, the population peaked in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and it has gone down since then. So I do think that Homo sapiens population on planet Earth that we know of is less now than it was, say, 40, 50 years ago. And I think that's accelerating rapidly.
I think so too, so it is up to us. I think we have to be that anchor. We need to be that center. We need to be that thing to anchor a certain vibration in place. And that way we'll still go through things, but at least we have some say in how that is going to come about.
Yes, and this is an opportunity for growth. So when we're looking at this, the most challenging times bring about the most growth. And I know you guys are ready for that. Here you have out of RT, U.S. masking attempt to control Latin America with drug war. So says a Bolivian president. The president from Bolivia, so not one of those countries that's been named per se. But yeah, Washington is using the so-called war on drugs as a cover for seeking political and economic domination of Latin America. This is Bolivian President Luis Arce claiming on Wednesday. Strongly criticized U.S. military deployment to the Southern Caribbean, calling it an attempt to control the region rather than genuinely combat narcotics trafficking. As we know, U.S. sending air and naval forces this month. And, here you go. It's just when the history books are written, this is part of what they're going to be writing about and how things escalated.
Oh my gosh, Boeing makes emergency landing after engine bursts into flames. Yikes, that really concerns me. But the thing is I feel it's kind of purposeful. I got to be careful and watch my words, but this just has been happening way too often. I'm sure if we were to pull up some sort of a map that shows, how many incidences in the last 2 years versus the last 10 years prior, I bet you there would be a lot more in these last 2 years.
Yeah, I don't think it's just about focusing in on something. It seems that there's far more. So this is in Italy. Condor Airlines had to make the emergency landing. Thankfully, was able to make that emergency landing. I mean, this is terrifying, seeing an engine explode in midair.
Yeah, it's pretty harsh. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we go over and we see quakes and other things. You have a 6.0, and this is in Latin America. This is off the coast of Guatemala and El Salvador. Strong and shallow earthquake, 6.0, so that's significant for sure. They put it at the 10 kilometers depth. Again, there's been a lot of curious quakes. And here you go, you can see this is the location that we are talking about. Another thing that was, definitely not the usual is 7 quakes over here in South Carolina, north of Greenwood. I lived in the Columbia area for years. This is kind of unusual. So when I look at these, you have 6.4 kilometers deep, 5.4 kilometers deep, and then this one's 6.8. So not deep, but then you have some that are almost on the surface, 0.1, 0.3. And Cindy was picking up something going on more on the surface here. Now, I'll share with you guys over here, we've seen some unusual quakes over by Elgin, little town of Elgin here, close to the big Fort Jackson here, which is the largest base basically east of the Mississippi with the sheer volume of people that come through it. And, there's been times where there's lots of quakes here. And when remote viewing that, Cindy could see that was like tunnels and military expanding out. Not sure if that's the case here. None of these are huge. The biggest one is a 3.0, but definitely unusual.
It is. I'm just being shown the ground. I'm being shown the dirt. I'm being shown just the solid ground. And I don't know exactly what that means. It just means there's more that needs to be interpreted, and I'm not picking it up. But the guides always give me what they're allowed to give me, and no less and no more. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Nice residential area. Camp Branch. I'm not sure if there's a military base over there or not. But yeah, that's just weird. So, but these are unusual times for sure.
Yeah, 7.5 in Drake Passage. That was a big one.
Yeah, the Drake Passage was a very big one. So if we just take a look at the 30 days and see where the significant ones were. We have this one in Turkey, 6.1. There's the Drake Passage. Still predominantly ring and fire, but you also had those ones up in the New York, New Jersey area as well. And this 3.5 over south of LA. Meanwhile, Charleston, South Carolina sets new rainfall record. Stalled cold front triggers flash floods. Charleston's flooded pretty big time multiple times. And this was a record 12 inches of rain on a day, single day. This was Friday. Pretty exceptional in these exceptional times, as you can see. Obviously, a lot of damage done to property there as well. Love Charleston. It's one of my favorite places. But yeah, it's just crazy. This is what we have going all over. Over here, you have a glacial lake outburst flood. This is, this is up in Tibet, Kashmir. Yeah, way up in the mountains again. This likely an upstream debris flow landslide likely impacted the lake, overtopped, eroded the moraine dam, and triggered the outburst. Several times the usual flow of water coming in, literally changing the ground and the surface. And talk about big change. Shallowing of the Caspian Sea disrupts ports and threatens biodiversity. This is in Azerbaijan. Rapid declines in the Caspian Sea water level are disrupting port operations, reducing oil shipments, and threatening seal and sturgeon populations. The Caspian Sea is the world's largest enclosed saltwater lake, and it's been losing water at an accelerating rate. The sea level fell 3 feet in the past 5 years, 5 feet in the past 10, and 8 feet in the past 30. So it seems to be accelerating. The retreat of the coastline is disrupting economic activity and affecting the lives of millions in the region. About 4 million people live along Azerbaijan's Caspian shoreline, and about 15 million across the Caspian basin. The decline is affecting port operations in Baku and oil flow. This is very, very curious. Dredging works needed to maintain access for large tankers. 8.8 million cubic feet of dredging was completed last year, and so a lot more is needed. Azerbaijan blames both climate change and Russian dam construction on the Volga River, which provides about 80% of Caspian inflow for the decline. So, yeah, sometimes countries go to war over water like that.
That's not nice. It's just not nice. I mean, you have so many places that do that and so many people that hog water for their own benefit, and they cut off their neighbors below them, and they don't realize, or they do realize, the wildlife, what are they going to do? And they just don't really care. I think there's a lot of thoughtlessness out there, and replacing any thoughts is just, somebody's pockets getting lined with money, and therefore they just do what it takes to keep that money flowing to them, and they forget about humanity. They forget about our animals. They forget about the earth. We are the only beings that have to pay to live on this planet. We have to pay to be born. We have to pay to go, and it's just so wrong on every level. And I want to see change, so I try to be the change that I want to see. I truly do my best, and I know you guys do too. It just sometimes it feels like, you're getting pummeled. Like the deck is totally stacked against you. But you know what? Even if it is, we have to keep going because it will get better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see Elena's in the house, and our Emma, Oneness, all you beautiful people. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's a blessing that you're here. They want to put up all these clouds. They want to block the sun out. They've been doing it for years. And you see, study here, sunlight penetrates through the human body, quickly improves mitochondrial function and vision. Your mitochondria is it's the workhorse. It's the little engine inside the cells. And when you think about it, just 15 minutes of fully clothed infrared sunlight exposure triggers systemic effects and measurable improvements in vision. Get sun. I mean, again, this is why they want to block the sun. They want to weaken your immune system. That's my opinion. It's just my opinion. But people with weakened immune systems tend to have more trips to CVS and Walgreens and et cetera, et cetera.
I know, so I mean, the sun is so incredibly wonderful and beautiful, To me, I find it to be the source, and we are made of that. So it's only natural that we should be outside, soaking up the sun and boosting all of our happy hormones first thing in the morning as soon as that sun comes up. They do say it is, if you want to reach your gods, it's the best way to reach them, the fastest way to reach them, because of the information coming from you going to the sun is fastest in that early time of day. That's just something I read and I've experimented with, and it seems pretty accurate to me.
Yeah. I just wanted to, I see you guys talking about this. So the South Atlantic anomaly spreading, and I think was it Sin Chronos or Sin Havoc was talking about, I think I was getting the impression that strange signal that was seen before. I know Into Thin Air was the first one that brought it up. Yeah, there's big changes going on. But what we've seen too, when we remote view these areas, there's technology here. There's buried technology that's been there for thousands of years that can cause all sorts of havoc.
There is, and it's gone on for a long time, and there are probably hundreds and hundreds of years, if not thousands of years ahead of us. So, I do hear people snicker and laugh saying, oh, there's no way you can steer a hurricane. Really? Are you sure? Have we ever been lied to in the past? Have the controllers ever lied to us about the technology that they have? Could they possibly be lying now? I think it all lies in that discernment.
Yeah, so this is a post from over a year ago that Into Thin Air was talking about. And, again, these strange signals that seem to be coming from either Antarctica or somewhere between the bottom tip of Africa, the bottom tip of South America, and Antarctica. But the reality is, there's military bases down there. We know of the Nazis in New Schwabenland. And more than that, too, because, again, we could look and see that there literally is, under the sea there's what looks to be an antenna array, kind of like a HARP array, under the ocean there. I remember we were showing that before in the past, and there you go. Into Thin Air was showing this, too, see? So you have these arrays down there that can send off signals and can interfere massively with everything that's natural.
I know it's something that I think we have to keep shining a light on. We have to keep looking at, and we can't turn away because it needs to be seen. It needs to be seen. We deserve some kind of explanation. I think maybe that's where the problem is maybe something in our consciousness we feel like we're not deserving. Why are we not getting answers? I mean, it seems like we've been asking the right questions, and who is behind the curtain just blatantly gaslighting and ignoring our questions? That is so frustrating, is it not?
Yeah, Sin Havoc saying Atlantis. Well, maybe this technology's been in place since Atlantis, and maybe it's been still functioning the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, we really cannot leave anything out of the equation because of the nature of the world that we live in. We know that we are not the pinnacle of modern technology. We've seen far better technology, and it's in black and white, and we've seen some buildings that are so incredibly beautiful, pyramids that we cannot replicate, buildings we cannot replicate, artwork we cannot replicate. So it's silly for us to just sit here and think, okay, we're on the top, we're the best thing that there is, and just not even think about other stuff.
No, and this Bouvet Island, this is the area by Bouvet Island, again, military. and actually, there's access into the inner earth over there, too. So, yeah, there's, again, if everybody is just thinking it's natural and it's all because of a magnetic pole reversal, then, they're glad that people would think that. Yeah, absolutely. That takes the eyes off of the system. This is cool. Your hand is the original clock. Each finger measures time. Each sunset reminds you time is borrowed. Awaken to how nature already gave you everything you need. Yeah, if you look at it, face the sun, extend your arm in front of you so your palm faces towards you, fingers are parallel to the horizon. 2, position your index finger so it rests just below the sun and your pinky parallel to the edge of the horizon. Count the number of fingers it takes to reach from the sun to the horizon. Each ascending figure represents 15 minutes to the sun sets. So if space allows, line up your other hand directly below and continue counting. Each hand represents about an hour. So I've never done that, haven't tried to verify it, but it sounds pretty cool. Could be something that I could see indigenous people utilizing to get a good judge of how much time do they have left before the sun goes down.
I think it's way cool. I like these little tips and tricks. They're a lot of fun, and it just kind of lends credence to there really is no time. There is construct, but there's no time. And the information that we do have is, well, I think it's cool that it can be measured by our bodies.
Yes, being an emotionally intelligent person means you can never fully hate someone because you understand there's a reason they are the way they are. Do you guys agree?
I understand it. I completely understand it. And it's something that I can sit with. And it's something that I have experienced myself, So yeah, hey, I'm bragging on me. Here we go. Go Cindy. I can get it because I know people who are very, very hurt and they're in a lot of pain and they can't function a certain way. And it's nothing I did. It's just I know that there's a problem with them and they can't help it. And in knowing that, I took myself out of the equation and I was no longer hurt. So once I understood their situation and I did some study on it and I really understood it, I stopped getting angry instantly. And then I thought, wow, that this really changes things big. So if somebody in your life is having trouble and they're really emotionally hurting you, learn about their behavior, just watch their behavior, mark it, learn about it, and maybe you'll learn something. Because I learned a lot about myself studying other people's behaviors, and I learned what I do want to do and what I don't want to do.
And if I could ask you guys to please send Robbie's mom some healing energy. She's at the hospital right now. And let's send some positive love and healing energy Robbie's mom's way. Robbie, can you give us your mom's first name, if you would share it, so everybody could focus on sending energy to her? That would be wonderful.
And we have another mom, Mary D's mom. Her mother, we would really appreciate love and prayers to be sent to her as well. It's a very difficult situation that they're in, and the family's really hurting. And I know some of this problem is because you guys are awake and you're looking and you're watching what's going on. And mainstream medicine has its place. It's life-saving. It saved Mike's life. And sometimes it does come up with things that, we might not be able to do on our own. So it has value that way. But a lot of us understand that the natural remedies can be a lot easier on the body. But sometimes you just can't do it. You're trying to save someone's life and things have to go a certain way. And it's really rough. It's really rough out there. And we really wish you guys all the best. And I hope everything turns out okay for everyone and everyone finds healing and love and understanding and hope.
And thank you guys for that too. So NASA found themselves a perfect square there on Mars. Yeah, cool story. Absolutely. Again, the slow disclosure. We know, everybody knows that's probably going to be able to accept that there's ultra-terrestrials involved in pretty much everything. Again, the benevolent ones try not to get involved. The malevolent ones, they do their best to utilize us as an energy resource and worse. Here you go. In 2002, scientists discovered the pineal gland contains unique micronized calcite crystals that are piezoelectric, capable of second harmonic generation, potentially sensitive to magnetic fields. And so literally, your third eye is a crystal transducer.
It's pretty amazing. The human body is pretty amazing. And I'm a weird kid because I was saying that when I was like 5 years old. Somehow I just knew that there were things about the human body that were amazing and numerous and that we didn't understand. But it is starting to come to the light.
Look at this mama horse, so proud of her beautiful babies.
Look at those twins. Now that's a rare sight.
Well, beautiful. I know you would love to have all three of them.
Oh my gosh, I would take all three and we would have the best time ever.
And look at this. A gibbon observed grooming a wild deer in Thailand. This is an unusual friendship here, isn't it?
That's a cute friendship. We should all be that way. Even if we're funny looking, we can like each other.
Yeah, absolutely. We could love on each other and support each other. You know, why can't humans do more like this? That would be a wonderful thing if we could understand the bigger picture and the oneness of all things.
I think it helps when we come together like this, you guys. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate your time and effort and everything that you do to help us out.
Yeah. And then you have the cyclist meeting of family. Look at Mama Skunk's proud too. Look at all my beautiful babies.
And it's time to do a ding. So everyone have your happy thoughts on and your prayers, and let's send out that energy to those who need it. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. Source bless and namaste.
Much love, guys. Thank you again for being part of this family. Source bless and namaste.